You are very strong-willed. You have been a great leading force to show how you've put your passion to purpose. You speak up for the things that you believe in, that you value. Where do you really think that the strength behind your voice came from? Because yes, we've had a very small conversation today, but if anybody else wants to listen to the wonderful conversations that Michelle has done, you speak on so many vast topics from such an intellectual place. And I'm so curious to know, where does that groundedness within that opinion come from? Because sometimes that can be quite daunting to put yourself on a platform like that. But you do it with such grace and go, hey, here's an opportunity to speak about it. You're like, I'm in it. I'm ready. I'm ready. And I'm like, all right, she's fucking ready. Where does that come from?
You know what? It wasn't the fact I never had that in me. It was actually my journey was more figuring out how to channel it in the right way, because I think there was always an aspect of that in me. So, for example, the me not showering at 19 years old, it's the same piece of me who speaks out, except now I'm using it in a productive way, and I know how to channel it, and I know how to rein it in, and I know when it's appropriate to use it. But I genuinely believe once you remove all the shame and all the silence and all the stigma around it, we all have that fire within us. And it's about finding what you like, what lights you up. Like I had a really good day like 2 weeks ago, and I'm just quite an analytical person. So when I have a really good day, I sit down and I go, okay, what made that day more amazing? Okay, how can I make more days like that? And that's how you build a more fulfilling life. And so I've always had an interest about human behavior, and that's essentially what I believe underpins every part of the conversations I talk about, whether it's boundaries or body positivity. It's about knowing your power. And ultimately, I think my resilience and my strength and my drive comes from the fact that I have a very emotional realization that we have only so much time on this earth. And it's such a cliche, but when you think you're going to die at 19 years old and you're lying in a hospital bed, like that was a pivotal moment. I went into hospital at 11 and I came out scared of life, like so worried to go back into hospital. When I went into hospital when I was 19, it was like everything reversed. Like I had been scared of life for 8 years, not done anything that I loved because I just wanted to make sure I never went into hospital. And I ended up in hospital anyway. So then when I went into hospital when I was 19, I then came out of hospital and I literally called it my YOLO summer, where I did every single thing that scared me, even if I didn't want to do it. Like I hate roller coasters, but I went on it twice, not once, because once you can say it was like a fluke. So I went on it twice, decided after 2 times on a roller coaster, I went, no, I still hate roller coasters. We're not doing that again. But I did everything that I wanted to do because it was this I don't know how to describe it to make someone realize it in a way that I realized it without going through the pain I went through. But trust me, when you're lying in a hospital bed full of regrets and you genuinely think you're going to die, there is something in you that just mourns and grieves for every single moment in your life where you thought you weren't good enough to do that or to do this. Like if your biggest fear is fear, fear is fine, but regrets, oh, that's a pain you will never be able to forget. And that's what drives me.